What is your true value, or how worth are you in your life? This is a question which we come across sometimes and we don't have answers to. In this video, I'm making an attempt to tell you the true worth and how it is arrived at. Hey folks, I am CSK and I am your personal coach. You're watching me on my channel, CSKSpeaks. Let me do this thought experiment with you all as I commence today's video. Now, you see a 100-rupee note, right? Now, if I ask you the question, what's the true value of this note? Some of you who are like me will say 100 rupees. Some of you who are economists will say no, calculate the inflation, calculate the depreciating rupee value, so it's not 100 rupees. That's another conversation for another day. But let's stay with common man language. The value of this is 100 rupees. Now let's go to the next step. Suppose I crush this. I crush this 100 rupees. I'm just folding, but if I crush it and then I again ask you, what's the value of this 100 rupees? People will say, how does it matter? It is still 100 rupees. Give it to me and I'm going to iron it and keep it safe in my pocket. You're right. And so am I when I'm telling you that its value is not going to decrease just because it got crushed. Now, suppose I crush this, I throw it down, I stamp on it, so it's now soiled. And then I pick it up and ask you the same question, what's the value of this? You'll say it really doesn't matter, it's 100 rupees and it is going to stay 100 rupees. Of course, it's a little dirty, so it's a dirty 100 rupees. I am saying, that's right, it's a dirty 100 rupees. Now, keep this experiment aside because the value of 100 rupees all of us have agreed upon that irrespective of it being crushed, it being soiled, or it is clean and neat and fresh, it will still be 100 rupees, right? Now think about you for a moment. What's your true value? Is it going to change just because somebody around you has a different opinion about you? It's not. People who like you will have a great opinion of you. Will your value changes? No, it's not. Your inherent value remains the same, just like that fresh note. When it is crushed or soiled, the value will not decrease. So if you are with me so far, you got to get this point very clear in your mind that your value is determined by you and you alone. But let's be fair, that's not how life works. Life always works in relativity. Life works with what people think of us and what people do not think of us. And I am not going to get into an argument with you on that particular fact, but I'm going to tell you and demonstrate to you that while you can allow people to fix a value on your worth, please be aware that you give that chance to only right people in your life. You don't get everyone to make that choice or that call for you. Let me give you a simple analogy here, and then you get the point that what's the true worth of yours. So it seems there was this young little boy who was graduating from college, and his father, quite old, he said, okay, let's do this. Now that I'm a senior citizen, let me show you something which you are going to inherit. Because I may be done for this particular life, but you have a full life ahead of you. So I want to tell you what you're going to inherit, and then you can make your decision accordingly. The boy got excited. He thought his father is going to transfer properties to him worth gold and millions, and he's going to give him all of that. And as he expected, the dad took the boy into the locker room. And when he was taken into the locker room and he was sitting in front of that steel locker, the boy couldn't help but wonder that he's going to become rich by the time he's going to walk out of that particular room. The dad very cautiously opened the locker, and as he opened the locker, he pulled out a red box. The boy was excited, at the same time curious as to what can be captivated or captured in that red box. Before he could even imagine or let his imagination loose, the father opened that red box. And that red box contained a watch which was passed on to him by his ancestors. So father took great pride in saying, "My son, this is what you're going to inherit, and this is yours from tomorrow." Boy was disappointed and he was visibly angry. He said, "What, Dad? I thought you were going to make me the man who is going to be responsible for all your properties and for all that you have earned and amassed in your life. But instead, you brought me here and you're giving me this piece of watch. What is its worth? I don't even care about this watch. I have a great digital watch and I'm quite happy with it." Father says, "Okay, well, if you feel that, let's go and figure out its worth." Boy is no interested, but at the end of the day, he says, okay, he reluctantly accepts it. The next morning, both father and the boy walks into a watchmaker's shop. The watchmaker, as we all can imagine, is busy fixing watches. He's busy in repairing each one of those watches which arrives at him, and he is there to do his job. Now, when the father pulls out this watch and hands it over to him and says, "Here is a watch. It is now for you to fix its worth." And when the watchmaker picks it up and looks at that particular piece of watch, the watchmaker could not help but look at what is in it. What is in it in that particular watch? And then he looks at him and says, "Well, I'll give you a few $100 because this is not a great watch. And I have got much better watches in my shop. So I think I can give you this because it has almost every component which every other watch has and is no way great about it." When this conversation was happening between the watchmaker and the father, the boy standing there giving glances to his father saying, "I told you so. I told you that the worth of this watch is hardly anything. And now this man is reaffirming what I said, where he's saying it's worth a few $100. Father was disappointed. So he walked out with his son and said, "Okay, I'll get back to you." Next, both the father and the son goes to a pawnbroker. Now we all know what a pawnbroker does. He takes the valuable item from you and then sells it to somebody else for a higher price and then returns back to you your amount which he has promised and keeps the profit with him. What the pawnbroker is looking is what is in it for me. That is, what is in it for him. So when the pawnbroker looks at this particular watch, he says, "Well, it's good, it's well maintained over a period of time, considering that it is quite old. But let me tell you this, that I don't think this can go for a few thousands, more than a few thousands. So if you can leave this with me, I can sell it, trade it for a higher price, and then I'll give you your price of a few thousands, a couple of thousand rupees." Again, the dad is not happy. And the son is angry and he looks at the dad in that same "I told you so" look. Father, visibly disappointed, boy, visibly angry, walks out of the pawnbroker's place. The next stop they make is a museum and they go into a curator. They go into a curator with the hope that that person will appreciate the true worth of this particular watch. Why? Because this is something which is very, very antique, and the watchmaker and the pawnbroker failed to see that piece in that context or in that light. So when they go into the curator, and meet with him, or go into the museum to meet the curator and then sit in front of him, they present this watch. The curator could not believe his eyes. He picked up that particular watch and he looked at it and he kept on staring at it for minutes, several minutes. And then he looks at the father and the son and says, "Wow, this is a piece of beauty. It's a masterpiece. From where did you get this? This is something which will fulfill and complete the collection of antique watches which we are carrying in our museum. Do you mind leaving this with us? We don't even want to own this. We want you to loan this to us. We will give you ₹1,000,000. ₹1,000,000 for one time of loaning. Which means you got to give it to us for 1 month, and we're going to write a check right now for ₹1,000,000 so that you can carry this with you and come back after the month, where we will return this particular watch with great care and comfort." Listening to this, father could not help but beam, and he was happy. The son was puzzled. He was wondering as to what was happening between the curator and the dad. Because long before they got here, there were people who did not really think much about this particular watch. But here is a curator of this museum ready to pay ₹1,000,000. Of course, needless to say, the son and the father finalizes the deal, takes their check for ₹1,000,000, and then hands over the watch with great care. When they walk out of the museum, the dad puts his hand around the son's shoulder and says, "Well, son, you did not believe much in that watch. You thought it's hardly worth a few bucks like the watch repairer or the watchmaker. But here you go, you got a ₹1,000,000 check just for 1 month. Now imagine the earning potential of that watch, or forget about it. Imagine the true worth of the watch." Son could not help but accept his failure of fixing the true worth, or analyzing or finding out the true worth, and then he says, "Sorry dad, I failed to see what you saw." Now that was a story to drive home a point about true worth. By now, we must have understood that the true worth is finalized or fixed by the person who can see what is in it for you. The watchmaker was busy seeing what is in it. The pawnbroker was a step ahead, but he saw what is in it for me, that is for him. It was only the curator who looked at the watch and looked at its true worth and saw what is in it for you and why have you got that watch to him there. Now friends, when we started off with the true value of a ₹100 note, and the value will not diminish just because somebody has an opinion which is not in proportion to that value. But that's not how life works, right? In all fairness, we all have interactions and we kind of feel high on self-esteem or low of self-esteem because somebody has an opinion on us and our abilities. Now, I am not telling you that that is wrong, because that's how the society works and that's how the world functions. But what I am trying to tell you is the choice to listen to somebody's opinion is in your hand. Just like the boy or the father who decided not to listen the opinion of the watchmaker, not to listen and stay with the opinion of the pawnbroker. So when you are allowing people around you to fix that true value, please take a pause, step back and be careful in asking yourself this question: are they the right people to finalize my true value, or do they see my true worth? All of you are young, ambitious, aspiring people. You have a lot of goals ahead of you. be it with respect to your careers, be it with respect to your profession, your business, or even with respect to your own wealth management goals. Now, when you are fixing those goals and when you are aiming for those goals, keep this one thing alive, that my true worth depends on who I listen to. And that's how I grow forward in life. So when you are choosing a coach, when you are choosing a mentor, when you are choosing to learn from somebody, learn from them who can see what is in it for you. And that's easy. That's easy when you look at it from the perspective of the museum curator, where he looked at the watch and he looked at it and said, this is worth this much because this belongs to that league of antique watches. So the person who fixes your value has to identify your true worth, and you got to identify that person. So friends, as you pick your mentors and coaches, go ahead, keep these two incidences in mind, and then get ahead in your life. Thank you very much for watching CSK Speaks. Till next time, please take care. Remember, I do videos every Tuesdays and Fridays, so you can subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon for notifications. And then every Tuesday morning and every Friday evening, I am there with you with exchanging ideas and thoughts on leadership, careers, entrepreneurship, and much more. Thank you once again.